So when I was in Japan, I also visited the SCMaglev and Railway Park. It's a railway museum owned by JR Central located in Nagoya between Tokyo and Osaka along the Tokaido Shinkansen, which is Japan's busiest Shinkansen. So this museum features a lot of those bullet trains. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. So to get to the museum from Nagoya Station, take the Aonami line. And apparently it's next to the Legoland, so the train is Lego themed. So here's the museum, and they actually have an N700 Shinkansen parked outside. And you get off at the last stop, Kinjo Futo. And you just walk down there, right next to the bridge. And here's the entrance, very modern looking.
Thank you very much.
So once you get inside, the first exhibit is this hallway with 3 trains. First we have a JNR Class C62 steam locomotive. Then in the middle we have the 300X experimental Shinkansen. Then we have the MLX-01-1 Maglev. So first we'll look at the C62. This is Japan's fastest steam locomotive, and it is a narrow gauge 464. And it ran on the Tsubame Express between Tokyo and Osaka. On the side there is a walkway so you can see the inside of the cab. And here's the back of the tender. So next we have the 300X. Now, honestly, I thought it was some kind of maglev design, but it's actually a Shinkansen. And it's actually just one of 2 heads. The other head looks like this. And it was used as a test vehicle and actually has a high-speed record. I also found it interesting that there's a little window on the side of the cab. And here's a look at the interior. There's no platform, so it's kind of hard to see. And in the rear, there is a stairs, but there's no axis. Then next up, we have the MLX-01. This is the maglev, or magnetic levitation. So it basically hovers in the air with these magnets on the side, which I had no idea there would be so many holes. There also are these 2 wheels that stick out, probably to stop it from scraping on the side walls. Then it starts to slope into the body. See a bit of that door on the other side. Then here it's labeled MLX-01-1. Then in the back, there is this guideway mock-up, and it shows how it works with the magnets alternating so it gets propelled forward. And here's how the back of the car looks like there is an opening. And this train got a world record for being the fastest maglev back in 2003, but since has been surpassed, and yes, you can enter it. The door's actually a bit interesting with these holes on the sides. So let's make our way inside, which the seats are actually only on one side and you're not allowed to sit in it. And here's a look at the fancy ceiling. It reminds me a lot of an airplane. Now finally for the great rolling stock hall. This is where all the cool Shinkansen are at, along with some other trains. So first on the left we have the 700 series Shinkansen, followed by the 300 series, the 100 series, and the original 0 series. So one interesting thing I noticed is that on the bottom, 700 series does have these tiny grab irons, as well as some above the windshield. I've never noticed this. And underneath there's actually this really short snowplow with these bolts sticking out. Here's a view of the side. You can see all those sloping curves, very smooth. And down below we have the truck. It's a rare chance to see these Shinkansen wheels up close. And I did find it funny, there is a sign saying no crawling underneath. Then over here we have some steps to get up to the cab, which the door is up there. Here's a view of the side. You can see the interior of the seats. And apparently this train is a Nozomi bound for Hakata. And the door in the back is open so you can enter it and check out what it looks like inside. Got the bathrooms in the back. And here are the seats, which you're not allowed to sit down. I did find it pretty cool that the LED displays actually still work. It's a bit of a retro design, and I think they customized it a bit to talk about the museum. And if you go in the front, this is where the crew compartment is. Although you can't quite see the cab, there's like another wall there. And here's how the back of the car looks like. We've got like a little window in the gangway, and on top we have an antenna, this pole going across. So next door we have the 300 series Shinkansen. Now it has a pretty cool design with a sharp nose, although up close it's actually curved. And here's a look at the headlights, which are in this sort of reflective tunnel. And here's how it looks like from the side profile view. And you may notice that the bottom is kind of exposed with these boxes and vents. It's an older Shinkansen, so that's why it's not streamlined. It's also interesting that if you look at the side, specifically at the car number, it's actually extruded out so it's 3-dimensional, while on the 700 series it's just painted flat. Then here's a look at the rear, and then behind it we have Dr. Yellow, which is a diagnostics Shinkansen. Now this is an older one based on the 0 series Shinkansen, set number T3, which has since been replaced by the T4 2 months after I visited. Look at those windshield wipers at the top, front nose cover plate, and the blue plow, these rail wipers at the bottom. And on the side, I never really noticed that they have like these extrusions that come out. Here's a view of the side, and there's actually a screen showing the newer Dr. Yellow that replaced this one. And then at the back, they have a white JR logo, and there's a staircase to go up inside, some kind of light mechanism on the right. This car has a bunch of seats, and there's like a display model showing how a machine lays ballast on the tracks. So next we have the 100 series Shinkansen. It has a really pointy nose, almost like a bullet. They called it the shark nose. Lots of these bolts sticking out the plow. And here's a view from the front, with the headlights giving this orange hue, and the nose is pointed downwards. And from the side, the sill actually drops down in the front. And these older Shinkansen have these really long windows. And a cool feature of the 100 series is that some of them had bi-level cars, with these really big windows on the top. This one's actually a restaurant car, so there's a dining room up there. So if you go on the other side, there is this platform. And one of the doors is open, so you can go inside. And I was curious about the layout of the double-decker car. So after we pass by these bathrooms in the first car, there's a gangway to the bi-level car. And the hallway is actually off to one side. And we've got these port windows, so you can see Dr. Yellow. And above there's this glass ceiling cover. And this stairs goes to the bottom level, where we have a kitchen where the chefs are preparing the food. Kind of reminds me of a US Navy ship. Then further down the hallway it goes back up. And if you go around the corner, this goes up to the top floor where there is a menu. You can order hamburg steak or beef curry and rice. That is pretty Japanese, Nippon Shokudo. And as we pass by these large windows, we have the dining room where there's actually elevators to bring up the food from the kitchen. And it's where passengers can sit down, relax, and have a meal, and check out the scenery outside. Which this is how the back of the car looks like. And there is this big tank at the bottom corner, maybe some kind of like a water tank. And the bi-level cars are just trailers, so they don't have powered bogies, which help cut down on costs compared to the Zero Series, which all the cars were powered. And speaking of the Zero Series, that's actually the next train. The Zero Series were the first Shinkansen, so it's very iconic and historical. And this one, if you look at the plow, there is this curvy bit. This is car number 21-86. And yep, it has that thing that sticks out. So here is a look at the side. Again, we have this platform you can climb up and view the interior seating. Notice the curtains on the side of the windows. And here's the back with a big tank below. And there is a side cover for the gangway. And here's how it looks like in between two cars. And above you can see the older cross-arm pantograph. Nowadays it's all single arm. And then below we have the couplers locked together. And if you go to the first car, the window is actually open on the cab for some reason. Like it swings inwards from the door. And apparently I visited this museum on the 24th of April. Now the next section are conventional trains. So here's the 381 series. The cab sticks out on top. And this is a Shinano Limited Express train. And it's in the old JNR, Japan National Railways livery. And there's an opening in the back so you can see through the gangway. A bit of the hallway interior. Looks like you can't enter. And behind it we have the Kiha 181, which is also a Shinano, but it is a DMU, so it runs on diesel instead of electric. And it looks like the first third of it is reserved for the engine space, then the passenger section. And here's the 52 series. It's a really old DMU from the 1930s. Then we have the Moha 1, built in 1922, so over 100 years old. We also got the ED11. This is actually built by General Electric from the US. It's incredible that 100 years ago GE was making these electric locomotives instead of diesel. And behind it we have the ED18 from the UK. Then we have the JNR Class C57. Now this locomotive is a bit special since it pulled the Imperial train like 18 times. So that's why they have the cross-Japanese flags with the chrysanthemum seal. And I just noticed this while editing. There's actually a small window in the smoke deflector. I have never seen that before. And here's a view of the side. I also found it interesting that there's a hood over the cab window. And in the back there is a water standpipe. And this is how you would refill water to the locomotive tender. There's a little string, I guess, to direct the hose. And on the other side there is an EF58 electric locomotive. They also have these cool 1/120th scale model of an N700 Shinkansen. I guess it's a popular scale for these big display models. Very nicely detailed and definitely quite massive. Here's a look at the back. It is an N700A. Very, very cool. We've also got the newer N700S. It's pretty nice how they made the headlights light up. Makes it come to life, and the coolest thing about this train, they actually have a real interior, so you can see like the little poster board and the seating. It looks actually quite accurate, I think. Very nicely lit up as well. In the back we got the LED board, and it also says N700S Supreme. And the antenna is pretty smooth. And here's a look at the back gangway. They actually added like the door handles for the bathrooms. So definitely pretty realistic model. model. Now, I just made a video on this. This is the Dr. Yellow T4 that recently retired, and it's the diagnostic train, so you can see that camera in the front. And if you visit the museum right now, it's going to have the real thing. And this model also has a light up interior. They didn't really hide this power wire coming out. So if you look inside, you can actually see like the little control panels and chairs that the inspectors use. Yeah, it's a pretty cool model. They also have this pretty cool HO scale rail diorama. It's actually quite massive with a couple stations and a Ferris wheel. So here's the N700 Shinkansen passing through Tokyo, which you will see a lot in real life. They come by pretty frequently. And after it gets out of the city, it goes into the countryside. It's a cool viaduct onto the next station. Now, a cool thing about the center station is that underground they actually have Maglev train station. It's pretty cool. The headlights are shining through the tip of the nose at the bottom. Here's one with the red taillights and some passengers walking around, and hopefully this is going to be a real thing in the future. And the Yamanashi Test Track is actually part of the set, and actually did visit the real life one. I'll show you later in the video. And there is a Maglev model, although it goes pretty fast. There also is this rail maintenance of way train, probably to check the overhead lines. And in the distance we have the 258 series Sunrise Express. It's a sleeper train, so that makes sense running at night. Another cool thing is that they have the Shinkansen Maintenance Center, which is an essential part of running Shinkansen. Yeah, I found this pretty cool that they have road vehicles as well. And here comes the fire engine, or shobosha as they say in Japanese. So here's a look at the other side of the main station. These are incredibly long 16-car train sets. The museum also has some HO scale Shinkansen on display. So on top we have the 700 series. Then we have the 300 series with some stickers commemorating its last run in 2012. Then we have the 100 series with these silver boxes on the top, which go throughout the whole train. Like every single car has these boxes, unlike the 300. And then we have the 0 series with 16 cars, very long, and the 0 series with 12 cars. So I guess it's like an expansion. This bottom one's actually lit up with the headlights and interior, which they do seem to have. It looks like the top 0 series pantograph fell down, while the one on the bottom seems to be intact. And it's cool, if you look at the 300 series, there's actually people riding inside. So I guess that's one advantage of HO scale. You can add in these figurine passengers. And here's a look at the other end and a bit of the workshop behind. And this one has red taillights. So there's a whole section about SCMaglev, which in Japanese they call it linear rather than maglev. And this is the L0 model. Looks pretty sleek and cool. You can see they have those magnetic blocks in between cars. And this sign says it's actually floating. And above it goes over the whole entire history of the maglev in Japan. First we got the ML100 from 1972. Then 1977 appears they got rid of those windows. And then they rebuilt it with a new shell for a cooling system with the ML500R for a refrigerator. Then 1980 they have the MLU-001 with Japan National Railway. Then the MLU-2 was actually destroyed in an accident. It was replaced by this guy, which functioned the same. Then 1997 the MLX-01-1, which we saw the real one early in the museum. Then we have the Dash 2, which is actually part of the same train, but they tried a different shape. Then in 2002 they have the 901, which has a really long front. And then for the latest one, they have the improved L0 series. It's a bit different from the original L0 because that window in the front of the cab, and the blue stripes are slightly different. They also have a little overview of the Yamanashi Test Track Maglev line. See, much of the maglev is actually going to run through tunnels underground, and Japan is very mountainous, and there is that famous little bridge, and again I'll show you later in the video. Then on the other side of the room they have more educational stuff. Here they show the difference between standard gauge used by Shinkansen and narrow gauge by regular trains, and apparently this track has a derailment prevention guard, especially for when trains are going at high speed. You might be able to spot this on a Shinkansen line. I also found it interesting that the railroad ties actually dip down in the middle, and it's the same case with the narrow gauge track. And here you can see the green arrow for this train coming in the station, and when the other train is moving out, it kind of shows the signal block systems they use. And they have a real life example here in the back, and it's necessary to know where trains are and stop collisions. They also have an early warning system called Terra S to stop trains if it detects an earthquake, just like this one, and it happens a lot in Japan. And here's what the inside of the seats look like of the green car of the N700S. It's like a composite of two parts. And then here's for the regular passengers. Just feels like plastic and foam outside, versus the N700A, which is just this thick foam. They also have the cab controls of a 0 series. This is how they would operate Shinkansen back in the day. They also have a pantograph from the 300 series, and I like that they have a little anatomy chart, and compare that with the older 0 series. And here's a look at the bogie, which you can actually power up with this handle. They also have this mechanism of the inside of a traction motor. They also have a little display for the railroad tracks. They have these side walls to act as noise barriers, reduce the Shinkansen sound, and they add concrete to the side embankments to protect it from the rain. And under the tracks, they have this X support brace, protected from earthquakes. Here's how it looks like from the end, very nicely made model, and on the side we've got some workers. Apparently they have inspectors to patrol the tracks. Now in the back of the museum, they do have some more rolling stock, like some passenger cars for the 0 series, and some old EMUs like the 117 series, and this 165 express train. Very retro design. Next we have a green car of the same type. It's interesting, they put like a little window at the end. The next we have a 63 series EMU, the Kiha 82 series DMU, followed by the Kiha 48,000 DMU, and some passenger coaches. Also, if you go upstairs, they have a balcony, so I think it's a great place to take a picture of the trains, especially Shinkansen, all lined up, as well as the other trains if you want that. So here's the top of the 700 series. It has two of these panels on top, with an antenna in the rear. Then for the 300 series, the antenna in the front has car number 16, with Dr. Yellow right behind it. Then the 100 series, it's very gray on top, fans, and a lot of corrugation. And the 0 series, which has a lot of vents on the side, for the antenna in the front, which almost looks like it's pasted on. And there's the old double scissor pantograph. Now this floor also has a kids play area, where we have a paper model Shinkansen. I actually do remember making one of these when I was a kid. They also have this huge Tommy Plow rail set, actually quite a couple of them. This one's really Japan themed. And if you go outside, we have the N700 we saw before, and there's a tiny tank engine. So this is a JGR class Ken 90. It's a narrow gauge steam tank engine. Looks like they cut a hole through the boiler. I believe it was used for educational purposes, and it's actually 107 years old. And now for the N700, this is actually a special train because it's the first N700 prototype, but it was converted later to the N700A, and now it's set number X0, which you can see in the window, and the doors are open so you can actually have your lunch here. They let you sit in the seats, and this train was actually never in passenger service. It was always used as a test train for JR Central. And here's the sticker for N700A because it got upgraded, and this train is 3 cars long. Here in the back is the green car, and on the roof you can see the cable head. So that's it for the SCMaglev Museum, but I also went to the real Maglev Test Track in Yamanashi, where they have another museum. So actually I was visiting around Mount Fuji, so I rode on the Fujikyu Railway, and they're operating these old X205 series EMUs. It's pretty interesting that they have Naruto themed trains, as well as Thomas of Friends, and this is because they have a theme park called Fujikyu Highland. So every station has a Thomas of Friends mascot, and the station I got off was Kasei Station, which has Mavis. Now Yamanashi is considered the inaka or countryside in Japan, so this station is actually along a single track line, so you can only run one train at a time. So for this train to leave, it has to wait for the next train to come the other direction. But if you're lucky, you might see the E353 Fuji excursion train. And one thing I like about Japan is that even this station has a public bathroom. They got a sink, a urinal, and a toilet stall. So So to get to the Maglev Test Track, we're to turn around and go past this level crossing, which is in front of the station. Keep going down this road till we reach a bridge where it has a peaceful river. Then we're to go right and start climbing this mountain, which is pretty steep. Yamanashi has pretty nice scenery. Keep going down this road, and eventually you're gonna spot that famous railway bridge. This is what you see in those Maglev videos. It is a really rural place, so eventually we'll reach the structure. There is this blue path and a map on the left. We want to go to the exhibition center. So it tells you the entrance is down this tunnel, which has this cool graphic of showing max speed of trains over time. And Maglev at the end. Then the path goes over this cliff, which has a beautiful landscape. And they got this big sign outside. And on top we have the gift shop. And on the right there is this corridor leading you to the center, which inside is an MLX 01-2 Maglev. And if you go on the second floor, you can see the Yamanashi Test Track. This is where they run the Maglev trains. Now unfortunately, they don't run the train on a regular schedule, and they were not doing it the entire week I was there. I thought they would do it the same time each month, but it turns out that's not the case, but I did get to see some workers. And they have this maintenance crane. So yeah, I was pretty bummed out I couldn't record the real thing, but that's what it would have looked like. So the next best thing is a railway diorama. They actually built the L0 in HO scale. These two are arriving at the station, although it probably will not look like this. They also have the Fuji excursion train E353 series just passing through, so it's kind of diorama of the real place, going past the Fujikyu train on the other side. And they also included the Yamanashi Test Track bridge, where you could see it fly by into this tunnel in the mountain. They also have this model activated by a button, which is the same one from the SCMaglev Museum, but it does seem like they have a longer track. They also have a show showing how the maglev works. They have to cool this magnet to extremely low temperatures in order for it to levitate. So as it heats up and adjusts to room temperature, you can see the effects start to wear off and just falls down. And it works the same way on the real maglev. On top of the coils, they put a refrigerator. It's filled with liquid helium and nitrogen to cool it down. But when it's floating high, it can easily fall off the track. So you need to push it down a bit so it makes a magnetic field.
Then press it lightly later.
So as you can see, just with a light touch, it goes zippity zoopity all around the track at quite a high speed, even going upside down at times. And yeah, this is basically the technology behind the maglev trains. Because it's levitating, there is no friction. Now as for the real maglev train, which is in the lobby, this one has a wedge-shaped design and twin headlights in the middle. And on the side, the nose is actually bolted on, so it's not completely aerodynamic. And on the side, we have the big magnets with the holes, which I'm not completely sure what's it for. Some of them are filled in. According to this model, it's some kind of support pillar. There also are some models, but it's the same as the other museum. So in the middle, there is this door to access the inside, takigen. And in the back, there are some windows. This one's a bit interesting because it has these vents in the back. There's an opening in the rear, the test track in the background, which does have a tunnel on the other end. Now for this side of the train, they have some doorways so you could go inside. Now the interior is actually a bit different from the other maglev that we saw, and they have the screen that shows you how fast it's going. You can also ride in this miniature maglev, which is propelled by these magnets on the side, and apparently if you look closely, it is levitating. You can hear it does make this thumping noise. They also have a dining section where you can watch the track if there was a train. But I was pretty hungry, so I decided to get a snack from the vending machine, which is just melon bread. So after that, I visited the gift shop where they have a lot of these toy trains. And I did find it interesting that they're selling this N-scale model of an L0 maglev, which apparently does work with real magnets, but maybe for another time. So that's my experience visiting the SCMaglev Museum and the Yamanashi Maglev Center. I think it's pretty cool to see Shinkansen in person. I was always curious about these places, as well as learning new things about maglev. There's lots of educational material, cool railway dioramas and models, and even getting there, Japan has lots of interesting livery trains. In one Thomas & Friends train, they literally had Diesel 10 in the seats. Now, is the Yamanashi Test Track worth visiting if the Maglev isn't running that day? My honest answer is probably not, because that's the coolest thing about it. So make sure you check your calendar on their website. But at least Yamanashi has nice scenery in the mountains. There's also lots of interactive displays to show the science behind Maglev, as well as the history. So if you're into Maglev, maybe you might still like it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, hit the like button, subscribe to get notified of future uploads, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.